Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Welcome back to HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. My name is Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justing, and we've already had one amazing best of 5, but we're not done with the broadcast or our series today just yet. We are getting ready for WildHeart Esports up against Oxygen Esports, and it's going to be a very, very exciting matchup. There's a lot of standing shiftings that can happen between these two teams, and a lot of really interesting outcomes from this matchup. And I believe we can immediately start talking about these rosters in depth. So I'm super excited to start, breaking this down, because, Grubby, on the side of WildHeart, who are we going to be seeing?
Mason Blaze, Zerkling, Slug Hunter, Trevor, Weird, and Lupus. And together, if none of them are on vacation, we should see the top 5. And we have a very strong team that so far is with a 3-3 score, somewhere in the middle. And it's interesting, if WildHeart loses this, they will be below Storm for sure. If they win, it's coming down to the map score. So super interesting.
Interesting for the side of WildHeart. But if we look at the side of Oxygen Esports, Justing, any excitement for this roster here?
Yeah, Oxygen Esports does have the 4-2 right now. They're sitting at the top of that sort of middle of the pack, trying to break into the 3rd place position. We've got Draded on the ranged, Heavy playing the support, Madara playing the ranged flex, my pal Vince playing tank, and Nazmaz in the off lane. Possibly we'll see some Pirate Rum, but unless anyone's missing, not expecting that. Oxygen has a very long-standing core roster here that they've kept with for quite some time, so we'll be seeing mostly how they mesh with Vince, as that's their newest addition. We'll see if they're able to kind of build on that synergy that they've been creating with him, and this is going to be a really important match for both of these teams. If WildHeart loses, they're really they're going to be real low for the gauntlet, and they definitely don't want that. Oxygen Esports, if they win, on the other hand, are going to be right up there, nearly securing that 3rd place spot. I'm not sure if they guarantee it if they win this. This match is extremely important for them, though, regardless, getting that top 3.
It's a very important matchup, and throughout the week, I have been begging Oxygen to play Pirate Rum, and Steve actually came by my Twitch channel and I made a little deal with him, so we'll actually see if that deal is going to be completed today. But let's not talk about these rosters, let's talk about what we can be seeing map-wise, because we are going to be seeing Oxygen Esports choosing to take us to Battlefield of Eternity. But if you're wondering, Twitch chat, like you always are, how we got to Battlefield, I got you covered, as the members of WildHeart Esports will win the coin flip, opting for first pick priority and banning out Cursed Hollow. Oxygen to get rid of Sky Temple. And then really quickly, some stats for you all at home about Battlefield of Eternity wins and losses. We will see WildHeart with a 2-1, 2 wins, 1 loss on this map. And the side of Oxygen Esports, they have played this map 5 times, Grubby, with a 3-2 record.
Oh, not bad. 3-2 record. Looking to add to that. And again, if Oxygen wins this, they're pretty much guaranteed top 3. But if they lose, they could be overtaken by Storm as well.
Thank you, Steve from Oxygen. Pirate Rum is playing today. It's happening! We get to maybe see Pirate Rum's Mephisto. I've been talking about this for almost 7 weeks of play for HeroesCCL. I've talked about it on my own stream. I've talked about it on other people's streams. I want to see Pirate. I want to see his Mephisto, and decidedly he will be played today. But, Justin, what are your thoughts getting into this? Because, as you mentioned, this is a very, very important matchup, more so on the side of Oxygen, but I still think it's important for WildHeart as well.
Yeah, both teams really going to want to focus on this going into the potential gauntlet later on. Oxygen, no doubt, has put in a ton of prep for this match in particular, because this match is the defining one for them for where they stand in the standings. It's extremely important for them to be able to... I'm sure they're going to have some strategies prepared here. Oxygen's a team that historically does prepare kind of unique strategies in general anyways. And so for a match to hold this much importance, I'm expecting a very clear, definitive plan in the draft and how they execute their maps.
Do you think we could see, like last season, do you think we could see like a bunch of Lily play Justing? Remember that?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see that. Lily was a bit of a double support thing that was also probably a little bit more of a WildHeart thing. I'm not really expecting that to be the case. A lot of things like that are not really getting picked anymore. We don't see too much Uther, too much Medivh.
Why do you think that is?
Too much, because I'm not drafting anymore. So,
But it is just, you know, it was a little. I was like, huh, you know, no lilies, and that was something prevalent, I believe, in actually week 7 of last season. But either way, Grubby, we've had some interesting picks and bans so far.
It's funny though, because Justin seems like such a calm guy on the surface, but like in his head, it's like circus all the time.
yeah, the clown fiesta of draft stuff. Completely pops out in my mind. Yeah, just starts dancing. That's how I get my draft ideas.
But what do you guys think about this? The fact that there's no Joanna priority. We go from a series where it's like, oh my god, Joanna first pick, first ban, and now where it's just like, hey, we're in second ban phase. Where's the Joanna?
Always pretty big emphasis on damage here. We've got the 3 poke damage heroes on the field already. After Hanzo was taken, after Lunara was taken, Ming was the last one left and was also snapped up. So always makes a lot of sense. And while Johanna can be that one that puts the brakes on enemy damage into the Immortal, it doesn't work as much into Lunara, Hanzo, and Li Ming. And her Condemn doesn't do as much to pair up with the Immortal stun. Blaze, Yrel, Anoop all have much more synergy with the Immortal stun, and it matters because sometimes you have no choice but to fight around it.
I'm waiting for this last pick to come out from the side of Oxygen. It's a nice, safe Anduin, and I really like what both teams have drafted. What do you think about all this, Justin?
It is really surprising, even though this is a map that historically is pretty bad for Johanna, just because it's not a map where she can double soak, and that was her main strong suit before, and she doesn't interact too well with the Immortal. She does have the ability to solo defend quite well. That double blind does really slow down the enemy's burn. On the Immortal, if teams are trading burn, especially on the first one, the second phase of the first Immortal, where both teams are typically just trading burn, she can kind of solo defend fearlessly. For it to go completely unpicked in the draft is kind of absurd to me. I wouldn't even be surprised to see Oxygen still pick it here and just play triple tank, because I think she's just that strong. She just does that much damage that you can kind of pick her as a flex pick. She's almost like would be like a better version of Thrall or Maiev in the 4-man at this point, I think, with how much damage she can deal late game. So really weird that she's not getting picked. They do prioritize, like Grubby mentioned, we've got the Hanzo, the Li Ming, the Lunara, just prioritizing those long-range poke heroes on this map to be able to play the objective in an easy way to just play for poke. And yeah, we see the Tychus last pick as a response to the Garrosh. Garrosh gets lots of armor when he gets low, so being able to shred through that is quite nice with the Tychus, especially if we see either the Master Assassin or the In the Rhythm. Not hoping we don't see a Bigger They Are, because it's very anti-synergistic against how Garrosh works. Kind of gets him low, and that's sort of where he likes to be.
Yeah.
So expecting to see either In the Rhythm or Master Assassin, which we've seen quite a bit of. And overall, I think WildHeart definitely has the tools here. They have the Ana Garrosh, which typically Garrosh has a hard time getting in range to set up CC for his team. He can get kited quite easily. That's the main counter to Garrosh, is just kind of playing around his range and kiting him and keeping vision on him. There's no real tools to get vision besides the Hanzo arrow or Hanzo vision and maybe some blaze oil on the side of Oxygen. So comboing the Garrosh with the Ana is really nice to kind of get in range. If where he's able to hit those sleeps, he can set up for his tank. That's something I've mentioned previously, is Ana's the one support who doesn't follow up on the tank. The tank follows up on her. So they have the Wisp as well. So overall, I kind of prefer what WildHeart's drafting. It's definitely going to come down to execution, but they've got the counter to Cocoon and Li Ming, they've got the Nano, and they've got the setup for Garrosh. So things are looking good for WildHeart in this game 1 in the draft.
Well, thank you, Justin, for the analysis and breakdown, as always. And we are going to get into our first map in the second best of 5 of the day on the left-hand side in the blue. Right behind Alarian, we have got WildHeart Esports. We've got Slug Hunter on the Yrel, Weary Day on the Ana. We've got Mason Blaze playing the Lunara, Tremor on the Garrosh, and we are going to be seeing Zergling on the Li Ming. Over on the other side of the battleground, we are going to be seeing Oxygen Esports with Belith behind them. We got Mater on the Hanzo, Vince on the Anubrak, Pyrat Rum on the Tychus. His debut HeroesCCL matchup. Nasmus on the Blaze and Hebi on the Anduin. I really like what the members of Oxygen have put together here. Vince and Tremor are 2 really, really good tanks, and I think they've made great strides in CCL this season, Grubby. And it's hard for me to decide, but I lean a little bit into Oxygen. We'll see how everything plays out as we have a short distance little hop from Hebi. What do you think about the draft, the map, and overall what we could see here on Battlefield?
Yeah, I think the big wild card here is Weary Day and Ana, as we don't really see a whole lot of Ana anymore. We saw some sick Ana play last weekend. Not sure if it actually ended up winning.
The Ana game last weekend, I believe it did.
It did, right? Yeah, because we
Yeah, because
interviewed
it was like omega good. Like it was actually really, really good Ana play.
Yeah, it was. So it should still work, and Weary Day is already hitting big sleep darts. Love me some Living Ana. You know it's going to be explosive. It's usually not some kind of crazy slow sustain war. And there's already a lot of damage coming out on the towers. I like what WildHeart has. I think they have a small lead here, but it's definitely it's squishy. They have a very squishy comp.
The explosiveness of Oxygen can play into this, as we do have the top lane camp worked on by Hanzo. He's only at 1 stack on that simple geometry, looking to do a little bit more in the top lane, as Garrosh misses the combo onto a Nubrek right there.
Yep, maybe. I think he had vision and then lost it.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's the most logical, yeah.
You do E, you do Q, and if you do it like that, it happens automatically. But if anything disrupts your E, your Q still ends up hitting. There's this weird command order Q. Not Q the letter, but Q the 5 letters. This is weird. So if you press EQ, the Q is going to happen no matter what. Even if your E gets interrupted for like a second long, you would think that clears your command card, your command Q, but it doesn't. Like, it's been queued up, it's gonna happen. Hope that wasn't too confusing. And it's the same with Morgana's triple Q. It's gonna happen. So sometimes when you're Garrosh, you want to EQ someone, throw him over your shoulder, and then stun him with the Groundbreaker. If an ETC presses Face Smelt and pushes you away, it interrupts the E, and then you just do like the worst Q in the world. That seems so stupid, but well, if you understand why it happened, then then you forgive that Garrosh.
It's shifting abilities into like shifting commands, so you can quite literally use the shift key on your keyboard. It's something that I've done, like tapping wells. You can kind of mid-max a little bit of like, you can basically hold shift, right-click the well, and then left-click on the other side of the gate, and that kind of gets you an instant tap or a quicker tap, and then you're able to get back in the action. Little things like that, little mechanical moments like that can actually make big waves, or at least get you back into position a little bit faster. Had a little bit of a scuffle right there, but nothing really big to note outside of Tremor dropping a little bit in HP, but as Justin noted in the draft, and he made a very good note of this, Tremor, Garrosh likes to kind of be in this spot. He likes to be around this 60%, 40 to 60% HP because of that armor, that baseline armor that he does get from losing health. So it's nice little note from Justin, and we are seeing Tremor kind of playing in that pocket.
It's some of the quickest stacking I've ever seen on a Garrosh
absolutely.
Groundbreaker. It's insane. Sleep Dart actually interrupts the burrow charge for a bit. Circling doesn't connect with his shots. Don't think Vince would have died, but would have been a nice little extra something. Slughunter from the flank, applying major pressure on Madara. Nice block by Vince.
Killless so far, or deathless so far, however you want to approach this, as we have WildHeart burning down the Immortal phase, but this Immortal phase will go into defensive position, racing positioning, meaning that red on the left, blue on the right, to simply put it. And so we'll see how much race happens here between these two teams. The expectation on my end is it's still going to be a WildHeart Immortal. It's just going to be a lot less shielding on it. And as Justin has kind of noted in our production chat, and I want to bring this up, we do have the bigger they are at level 4 for this Tychus. And that is, as I was saying earlier, and as Justin was saying, that only puts Tremor in kind of that pocket spot he wants to be with that low health but high armor.
I think that's an awkward balance to pick into Garrosh, really. Because it says it brings someone to 30% health.
Yep.
But that's like half health for Garrosh, effectively.
Yeah, exactly, because that armor that he does have, and almost gets the Groundbreaker there. Maybe did he get the Groundbreaker, or was that too far forward?
Don't think he did.
Yeah. Either way, that as you had mentioned, Grubby, the level 1, the Warbreaker, already done for Garrosh, so he's got some damage over time from the 5 stacks, and he's got some cooldown reduction from the 15 total stacks. But here comes Alarian through top lane. He's going to get the fort. He's going to get about, 25% off that fort?
25%, not too bad. No losses, no kills, in fact, yet on either side. It's going to get easier now that Ana adds maximum health damage with her Sleep Dart, and Lunara gets that Noxious Blossom as well. The Choking Pollen, in fact, that bonus burst damage. So it's cool here how in this composition, actually, the two major engage are Ana and Yrel, not Garrosh.
That is actually kind of interesting how it's you'd expect it's like Garrosh pops Indomitable, walks forward, does this, and actually it's going to be Tremor actually setting up First Blood.
Very nice, and it is true that if I mean, the best engage for Garrosh, and I think a lot of people in Storm League sometimes don't 100% get this when playing Garrosh, trying to copy what has been done to them, because it can feel very difficult into a good Garrosh. The best engage for Garrosh is, first of all, good judgment from the bush, from the side, and mounted. Walking at people mounted, and not when they're 5 together and easily able to dismount you. That's what he did there. And especially after people use some abilities that may be able to dismount you. Even after someone used their auto attack, like your timing of coming in is going to be great. But the mistakes here that are being made by Oxygen, like just walking through bushes, Tremor keeps getting paid off. Hanzo should not be face checking in. However, we do remember what Justin said, there aren't that many vision tools. You got Hanzo's E, Hanzo's Scatter, and that's about it. Sometimes he wants to save those for other situations. So while you can be critical that maybe Hanzo shouldn't step into a bush like that, yeah, maybe there's too many bushes to check.
Slug Hunter gets chunked quite quickly by Pirate, but that's also part of the that bigger they are at level 4. And the reason we didn't really break this down, so for anyone wondering, you increase the bonus damage to 4% while enemy heroes are above 30% health, but the minigun no longer has any effect on targets below 30%. And that's their HP. So that is the reason we were kind of talking about that, because it doesn't allow Tychus to do the Tychus thing at low health, and maybe Madara will get that last little bit of damage as the Li Ming is able to disintegrate that entire cocoon. Weary Day gets hit with an arrow from Hanzo, but there's not enough damage to find a kill. Mason Blaze gets a leaping strike, and actually the Mason Blaze leaping strike also got him into a better position. So not only did it do a little bit of damage, but it also got good positioning for this Lunara, as the Immortal Race is looking good for Oxygen, but Tremor steps back in.
Tremor steps back in, and he's getting nerds slain here. Nice disintegrate damage by Zerkling as well. A good impale by Vince in order to keep himself safe. Mason Blaze 3 seconds out from another leaping strike, and WildHeart decides to pull back. They seem very well in control. Weary Day's getting the big sleep darts. Tremor is doing good vision play, and just a little lead on the Immortal here. WildHeart is kind of popping off.
I'm liking the momentum that WildHeart has here. Camp will be grabbed for top lane, and the Immortals once again on the racing side, which is going to be beneficial to WildHeart since Oxygen took that extra time to grab the camp. Another Immortal to go over to the side of Oxygen Esports. And Grubby, you want to check out some Oxygen comms? Or excuse me, some WildHeart comms?
Yeah, I wanted to say the same thing. Let's check him out.
Into WildHeart we go.
Watch me here. I'm gonna look at Vince in the bush. Can we clear the wave though? Not everyone, just yeah, we clear the wave.
The noob's here.
Oh, I know. They know I'm up here.
I want this
We pressure them?
globe.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys don't clump on me, okay?
I have to play back for the web.
Asma's still bottom.
Do you want to just come and sit?
Yeah.
Slug?
Yeah. Okay. Just be careful. We don't see Nesmus now.
Yeah, that's fine.
I want to play a little more back, let you guys do damage. Wait, Nesmus here.
Is he? He's looking for a cocoon. He's looking for what?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Race needs help. I give you move speed.
I have to leave this.
I stun.
If you can, we want to go, yeah.
They're looking at me.
I still Vince.
Are you up? Slug?
Yeah, I'm up.
I
I think he entered.
Yep.
I think he entered his burrow, by the way.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
Let's
You look at
just
this.
top together.
They still have web, by the way.
No,
I
I'm
don't
still
know point
here.
unless you want to flank their back line. I don't want to
We
be
need
in
to
the...
slug
Yeah.
on point.
Yeah, my bad.
I'm getting miniguns.
Slug
I'm playing
on
with
it.
Sherman to flank. I'm playing with Sherman.
He might
I
web
still
you.
have ult.
Right there.
I'm only hitting
I'm web.
Nazmus.
I need web. Nice. Wait, alright.
Coming there.
I think we're done.
Yeah. My bad. I should have just played there earlier.
Can we go bottom after this? I want the globe.
For a team that is looking extremely strong on this map, their comms are so, I wouldn't say lackadaisical, but they're just chilling. They're hanging out. They're just playing some Heroes of the Storm together. It's kind of funny. It's just like, you out? Yeah, I'm good. Hey, we need Slug Hunter over here. All right, I'm on point. It's just like it's cool. It's interesting. I don't know, for me.
I think the most magical part is when they said, I think we're done. at the moment when they were also done, in my opinion, and that all of them, before they said it, were already moving back. I think that's why the comms sounded chill. It's because they're on the same wavelength. They knew the time had come to go back. So it's super cool to see here.
It's like when you're playing duos in Age of Empires. You don't even communicate to your friends like, oh, like it's like you're building horsemen. Oh, that's perfect. I'm building horsemen. Didn't even have to communicate that, because horsemen are obviously the best units in Age of Empires 4, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's why we call them Worsemen. Almost as good as Butcher.
Oh!
No, but it's true. So, I once had a teammate, a South Korean teammate, and we could barely speak each other's language, and we knew what to do based on experience in one-on-one, and we knew how to play together. It's really nice, and you got to be on top of your game to get that feeling together, to get that trust, knowing that your teammates are going to make the right call. So far, WildHeart has been making the right calls.
We'll see if 13 Talent here changes up anything for the side of Oxygen, as this is another Mortal phase here on Battlefield of Eternity, the third one of the game in the north-south positioning. And Oxygen, I wouldn't say they're struggling, but they're just trying to find some sort of way to step into WildHeart. And the positioning of WildHeart is really good here, as Tremor now comes out of the bush. There's a burrow charge forced by Vince, who doesn't get he actually gets the Impale into Tremor. The burrow charge away was more defensive than anything, but Pirate Realm pops the Odin, and now this is the advancement from Oxygen into the side of WildHeart's Immortal.
They're using that Odin to get the poke damage in, and still Oxygen is losing that race. They are starting to try and defend now. Nazmas trying to cut off Slug Hunter. You've got Vince trying to make a play. There's an arrow on 2 targets. Burrow charge not available for that little light bomb stun there. It's actually a nano Lunara. Is that quite intended?
It might be, but either way, it's not going to yield a kill because Vince gets the Leap of Faith from Heavy. A little bit of healing out as well. Vince actually doubles back to make sure he gets that healing from Heavy, also in the anchoring position. But now, the Immortal race between both sides, and unfortunately for the side of Oxygen, with 1,773 HP remaining on the WildHeart Immortal, this will be the third Immortal to WildHeart into bottom lane. WildHeart, just objective after objective, team fight after team fight, and with half a level to go, Oxygen either need to pull the trigger and make something happen, or they need to turtle up for about a level and a quarter, or a level and some change.
And, things like Slug Hunter and the Wisp standing there in the bush, those are direct counters to people trying to wrap around and backstabbing the Immortal and being like, okay, let's go as all 5. They're going for the second route. Nazmas on Blaze was shown in the top just now, so WildHeart noticed there's a timer for him to join the fight. They're almost level 16. Oh, wait, who pushed him out? Report?
Righteous Hammer from Urel bopped him out, as there is a bunker down from Blaze just in time. The Immortal does get the keep front gate. There's a huge combo in from Li Ming onto Pirate, but he's just going to stand still and continue to burn down the Immortal. Pops the Commandeer Odin, and I think this is more defensive than anything else. This is just trying to say, hey, I know it's a long cooldown, but at least we can stop the advancement of WildHeart with their 16 talent tier. Slug Hunter checking the bush to make sure that, oh no, this is just actually a bush setup. Either way, just still controlling bottom lane, and actually they want this keep. WildHeart really want this keep with the 16 talent tier for the next quarter level.
Yeah, and they wanted to see if anyone from Oxygen is doing some advanced scouting, overstepping after the successful defense. They're also waiting for the next wave. They're also wanting to finish off that keep. It's a very tight window before level 16. And I want to see if we're going to get one more of those nano-boosted Lunaras. It allows her to move her Wisp more often. Did you know that? She has a 1 second cooldown on moving Wisp, so if you nano her, she can do that like every 1/3 second. It's amazing. Very mobile Wisp. Would love to see more nano Lunara.
I think there's some other abilities that are getting cooldowns there as well, but that is a very, very valid point, Grubby, that it is going to be a lot of microing of the Wisp, as Tremor takes a chunk of damage, but with 30 armor, he's kind of sitting pretty still.
Circling very, very clearly, learning the discipline that just because you're nano doesn't mean that you E in and try to hit a full combo on anybody. He's like, all right, this one's wasted. It's going back pretty soon, no doubt. Let's control the map. And they are. But really big props to Oxygen for saving their keep. It's low. And it is a problem because this Fallen Bruiser will finish it off in about, 1 minute and 20 seconds or so. So that is kind of this timer on Oxygen. So ideally, they want to make this phase of the game go real fast. And they're doing exactly that, going with the race on the Immortal.
Immortal down to 25%. There's going to be a Light Bomb onto a Nubrak. They're trying to chain CC Tremor. There's going to be a big arrow from Hanzo, but it's eaten up by a cleanse from the Lunar. Leaping Strikes will be coming in from Mason Blaze back and forth as Mater is getting a little bit low. Cocoon onto Urel will immediately be disintegrated as Anduin, somewhere on my screen, gets annihilated. Nasmus pops the Pyromania, but this might not save him. The bunker might. Li Ming has a calamity forward. Urel goes down on a different part of our screen. Nasmus trying to dip, dive, dodge, get away from all of those magic missiles, but it won't work out. Now, there is a corridor that a lot of WildHeart are in, and it doesn't seem like that's actually anything that Oxygen will play into. The Weary Day, I thought Vince was going for the combo into Weary Day, but here is the bottom lane keep to go down as Grubby predicted. A double kill for the side of WildHeart Esports. They only lose their Urel, and are able to then get back to this Immortal phase. It hasn't swapped sides because we're not at 50%, so this is going to be a point where it swaps.
Nice ERQ combo by Tremor. If you E and R before the target lands, there is no chance for that hero to use their escape mechanics. They get taunted mid-air. Although they can't auto you, so you're essentially losing out on some free auto attacks into you. I guess actually that makes you happy. But you're losing out on some extra stun time, but you're bridging the gap where someone could potentially hit their unstoppable button. So ER-Q combo is what you want to do at home, guys. And here's another combo that's great. Garrosh and Ana. Ana has that level 13 talent, Smelling Salts. Fantastic into Hanzo Dragon Arrow, into Anubarak with stuns, into Blaze with stuns, into Light Bomb with the stuns. Smelling Salts will remove stuns from a target. Every 2 seconds is her cooldown for heal. And will grant them 50 armor for 2 seconds when doing so as well. Armor stacking was removed from the game. You can no longer stack armor from different sources. But there's one exception. As far as I know, there's only one. Garrosh. Garrosh's unique armor trait that goes up when he drops lower in health stacks with external sources of armor. So you can see Tremor, bit of damage, 13 armor. He gets Smelling Salts on him, 63 armor. Insane.
A strong pickup right there as Slug is going to get, well, slugged by a lot of damage. He's going to be around 50% after getting healed up by Weary Day, who's in that Shrike mode. Commandeer Odin will be popped by Pirate Rum as we've got a sliver of a level to go before 20 Talentiers here to the side of WildHeart Esports, who are going to be able to take down this keep in top lane. And fun fact, Grubby, I'm going to hold that fun fact actually for a second because it's going to be still advancements into this core.
Yeah, we got level 20 here already. The core is starting to lose shielding. This might be a core, it might not be. Let's see how it goes. Circling's got the nano boost. He's aiming spells down the middle. Nazma's trying to block there, but he goes down. That's a reset. Only makes he still has a bit of nano. Madara gets thrown in by Garrosh. That should be it. Cocoon coming out late. Vince trying to save the apocalypse here. Urel with the absorbent defender. Now core dropping to 50%. WildHeart looked fantastic. 8 kills to 1. It's a GG. It's 1-0 to WildHeart.
WildHeart take map number 1 in this second best of 5 of the day in a I love that transition. In such a really like strong fashion. Dominant? Maybe dominant. Dominant could be the word for this as well. The little random fact that I had for you is developers came out and said, if anyone's wondering, when that little mid-well goes down on Battlefield and Braxis Holdout is when the 2 keeps go down. So if anyone's ever wondering how that well disappears, because it is invulnerable, it's when the keeps go down. But I think my fun facts aside, let's get Justin in here for some funner facts about this last game.
Yeah, I think control is the word that I would use for WildHeart.
Thank you.
I was very, very controlled, basically from start to finish on the side of WildHeart. You could tell that they were kind of in their element here in this game, and the tools that they had in the draft definitely benefited that and really played to their strengths. Something that I had hinted on in the previous series with Storm is how it feels like Storm as a team doesn't like playing these high execution combination play combo based team comps, whereas WildHeart is the exact opposite. I feel this is where they really thrive, is where they have all these heroes that synergize so well together in a 5-man. You can kind of just move around together, getting picks together like they did. You had Tremor completely popping off on the Garrosh. He finished his Q quest in like less than 3 minutes or 4 minutes. Just super fast groundbreaker completion. So getting just early advantages there in the lane bottom, and Tremor from start to finish really controlled that game. It felt like all eyes were just on him for most of the game, just waiting to see when his next engage would be. And he's definitely my MVP for this game, but everyone on WildHeart played like a well-functioning unit, just one collective unit, everyone peeling for each other extremely well. They basically had answers for everything. Tremor has Unstoppable, and then at 13 he has the Smelling Salts from the Ana to give him the armor, which like Grubby talked about, you get, for everyone else in the game, armor doesn't stack, but for Tremor on Garrosh is the one unique one since it's built into his kit. He has his own armor and he has a special addition, and he can get that armor stacking. So his armor will stack with Ana, so if she gives him 50 armor, he's just got 50 plus whatever armor he already has. So he has that, he has Unstoppable in case they try to engage onto Tremor. So Tremor is basically off limits for engage. If they try to engage onto the Ana, they have the Ally Toss from Tremor, which we saw as well. And then whenever they have Cocoon up, they almost need to use it on Li Ming, because if they don't, then it's going to be immediately deleted by the Li Ming. The Cocoon just gets laser beamed down. You could hear when we listened to comms that was something that was called for. Tremor, I think it was Tremor's in the Cocoon. He's like, Zerg, like, I need laser now, please. Like, let me out. I'm in here. And yeah, listening to the comms too, you could tell they're all really calm, and it felt like everyone was contributing to the comms fairly evenly, which is something that we don't hear from most of the comms. Every player on the team, you could hear they would chip in. It wasn't like comms were crowded, but all 5 members were definitely having their say. And yeah, just control from start to finish on the side of WildHeart, really playing in their element here on BOE.
No Cecil Steer from the side of WildHeart Esports in that map number 1. But speaking of maps, we actually know exactly where we're gonna head to for map number 2 in the second best of 5 of the day, and we are gonna be getting into my favorite map, Towers of Doom. This will be the map choice of WildHeart. So Oxygen Esports, the losing side, had opted in for first pick priority. And as we're diving into this draft here, Justin, I wanted to pick your brain a little bit further. Was there anything in your mind that Oxygen could have maybe even drafted differently on that previous map up against WildHeart, or was it just too much control from WildHeart with the Yrel, Righteous Hammer, Garrosh, etc.?
They maybe could have looked for something really dive heavy to punish the Ana. They could have maybe looked for something like a Zeratul or a Genji, something that can really get into the backline, because trying to focus Tremor in that game is nearly impossible. They had the tools to deal with it. They had the armor from Ana, they had the Unstoppable on the Garrosh himself, and they didn't have too much percent damage. Also, not going bigger they are. I feel that Pirate Rum, unfortunately, in his debut here, I think he kind of went with the only wrong choice on level 4 into the Garrosh with the bigger they are. Like you mentioned, the armor, the way it works, Garrosh likes to be at that low HP. Yeah. And the only way they have to finish kills is the arrows from Hanzo on 16 with that percent damage. So unless Hanzo has perfect aim and has his W ready to be that finishing blow, there's really nothing on the side of Oxygen in that previous game that could do that. So maybe substituting that for something that's a little bit more bursty if they want to go that route, so that they have someone who can finish kills, because you can start it, but you can't actually kill Tremor on the Garrosh in that game with what they drafted. So yeah, just tools across the board from WildHeart in the previous game for what the enemy drafted.
So I think I understand exactly what you're getting at. If they would have drafted something like a Convection Kael'thas on the side of Oxygen, they would have easily won the map. Okay, duly noted.
It could have been better.
It could have been better.
The Pyroblast, I mean, yeah, you can Pyroblast the Garrosh. Maybe that does enough to finish it.
That is true. But we are going to kick things off here on Towers of Doom. And Grubby, I have to get your thoughts on some bans, some picks, or maybe even expectations for this next map.
Should normally be Johanna, at least we think so. We might be overvaluing it, but WildHeart doesn't think so. Tremor's going to go on Johanna. Kind of a pity. He looked so fun on Garrosh last game. So good, but different map, new chances. Of course, that map is ideal for Garrosh. Always been a big one for him. Johanna Falstad, can't fault that at all. Janka Daka, yep, all of these are great usual suspects that don't lead into any particular playstyle necessarily. They're just all fantastic.
Fantastic play from both sides, as we have a few fantastic pickups here, Justin.
Yeah, and the Johanna, while Tremor did lock it, there is still the chance that Slug Hunter could play that, and with what they've drafted right now on the side of Oxygen, they really don't have tools to deal with the Diablo. We know Tremor's been very strong on the Diablo, and that WildHeart has prioritized it quite heavily. I wouldn't be surprised to see them kind of swap things up and put the Johanna into the offlane and pick a Diablo here. Junkrat on the other side, if they don't, I think we would have seen a Tychus ban most likely here, unless they're just really afraid of giving it away and they want to pick up Tychus for themselves alongside the Diablo. If that's not the case, then I'm less expecting the Diablo with the Sylvanas ban. They do have the option to just pick up the Diablo Tychus here if they want. I think that would be really clever from them in the draft, but it might just be a Tremor main tank Johanna. but Junkrat really struggles to kill Diablo, especially if he doesn't have Tychus alongside him. So we'll see if they do opt to go that route, if the Johanna's the main tank, or if it is the offlaner here.
It was a few weeks ago. I'm just trying to look at it really quickly. Yeah, it was Towers of Doom up against Granite Gaming in week number 5, where Tremor played that Diablo, and we're gonna see it right here. Tremor's Diablo that week was like, I think that was actually like a sub 14-minute like Towers of Doom map. Like WildHeart was aggressive in that week number 5 up against Granite Gaming, and Tremor played a really good Diablo. So we'll see if that's going to be the case here. We do have some player swaps, so if everyone at home's like, wait, no, Slug Hunter's on it, there is a player swap moment at the end of the draft. So either way, got to get your thoughts here, Grubby, as well, because a lot's happened in the draft.
Okay, Garrosh to counter Diablo. Mephisto coming out here by probably Pirate Rum then. Like,
Yeah.
I would imagine they're going to switch that out. Love what WildHeart has put together here so far. The Johanna Diablo so strong together. And what will they follow it up with? They need... Let's see, how do you punish Mephisto? They want some kind of assassin? Genji, Tracer, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Someone who can dive deep. Was thinking Genji. Tracer makes a lot of sense as well. She's going to try to stick to Mephisto. We saw that last weekend as well, working really well on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
This could be a tactic. As we're loading on in and getting these players swapped around, what do you think about all of this adjusting?
Yeah, so interesting that they didn't ban the Tychus and that Oxygen also didn't opt to pick the Tychus themselves. I think Tychus Garrosh last pick would have been a really good way to try to punish that Diablo. With the Mephisto, however, I'm not sure if Mephisto Junkrat is quite enough damage to really threaten him. There's a lot of CC on the side of Oxygen where they have the Garrosh toss into the Junkrat stuff. But they also have Johanna on the side of WildHeart and Lucio who can potentially go high 5. So they have a lot of ways to deal with that and to cleanse the Diablo once he does get thrown in. And the Tracer, I'm a little bit confused about. Mason is very good at the game. He's a very strong mechanical player, so I'm sure he'll be able to pull it off, but it is kind of scary to play into Garrosh, especially if he has that taunt. Just never being able to be in range of him in melee is very threatening. He has very easy point-and-click CC with his E and his taunt, so it's a little bit scary for her. Being able to maybe dive onto the Rhaegar or Junkrat might be strong, and possibly even giving Mephisto a little bomb for his departure as he teleports back might work as well. But overall, I think, once again, WildHeart has just a lot of tools, and if they execute it well, they should be winning here in the draft.
Well, thank you, Justin, as always, for the breakdown, because we are here on the side of the Raven Lord, and we're looking at WildHeart Esports. Zergling on the Falstad, Mason Blaze on the Tracer, Weary Day to play Lucio, Slug Hunter to play Joanna, and Diablo to be played by Tremor. Over on the side of the Gravekeeper, we've got Oxygen Esports looking to equalize in this best-of-5 series, at least in score. Mater on the Mephisto, Vince on the Garrosh, Hebi on the Rhaegar, Pirate Rum on the Junkrat, and Nasmus to play the Dahaka. I like both drafts quite a bit, Grubby. I can see both of them winning. The Joanna is a really strong force to reckon with, but here comes the immediate toss in from Garrosh. But either way, I'm still on the Oxygen train. I'm feeling good about their draft. What do you feel, or how are you feeling? Actually, no, Grubby, how are you feeling? You feeling good? You doing all right?
Yo, Baha,
good
as a
concussion.
friend, I'm feeling worried that you're betting against Johanna again. So can I get you to the other side with me? Because I'm going full WildHeart.
Okay, all right. Maybe it's the copium, maybe it's the hopium, but
It's Mother of Mephisto, though. It's not Pirate Rum. You've been hoping for that Pirate Rum Meph, and all he's going to be able to do is to backseat game Madara. Like, press E!
And actually, he did press E as you said that. Concussion Mine comes out from Junkrat, and Tremor goes down. It's been a double kill to the side of Oxygen. Lucio! Bless be the bush trap.
Wow, skating right through a bear trap. That's gotta hurt. Lucio getting taken out. That's 3 kills already. Sure you don't want to change your prediction? Wait, that's me. Sure I don't want to change my prediction?
I mean, hey, Grubby, you can always do so. But what are your thoughts on the draft? Because there's still a lot to talk about here from both of these teams.
Yeah, I think after Stitch's Junkrat, which I will never bet against, I would say Garrosh Junkrat is the next best thing. There was this brief, beautiful period where I always had a Garrosh or a Stitches on my team in Storm League, and you can kind of see that synergy. But look at this cool move here as E was pressed. It's actually right after Mephisto did a dodge on Diablo, who was looking to EQ Mephisto, basically. Mephisto's like, yeah, I'll be right back there. I'm gonna let you finish, but I'll be right back. But first, how about we pop you over our shoulder? Pirate Rum, get him, boys. That's how they took down Diablo. Simple story.
Simple story of how Diablo fell as he's going to get thrown around once again. Tremor will use the minions to try and get a shadow charge out of a precarious position, and I believe 2 of the sappers did go through. One of them, actually no, one of them was actually caught by Diablo, so it's going to be 1 sapper goes in, 2 of them being removed. But Falstead flies in, and he throws out a hammering, 9 stacks on that Gathering Storm as Madara jumps forward with the Shade of Mephisto. And we are going to get our first objective phase here. Top left and right is always the standard. The only kind of RNG factor for this first one is whether it will be in the bottom portion of the map where it's spawning now, or the mid portion, which is just above where everyone's playing in this bottom lane.
And it's going to be in that bottom lane. Madara actually just standing on the trap. He's like, you wanna shadow charge me? There's a trap right here. I'm safe. And that's actually so nice. I think maybe that's Junkrat's greatest strengths. Not his AoE auto attack, not his wave clear, not any of that stuff. Just safety for backline assassins. Like, you notice that when you play as Junkrat and you feel safer when you stand on your trap. But of course, Mephisto can use that too. Really nice into a Tracer, into a Genji, whatever. Heroes that would normally delete a Kel'Thuzad loving Kel'Thuzad player. But with that trap, so much extra protection.
So Nasmus, I don't know if he saw Slug Hunter. He definitely sees Zergling and gives this over. No, it's going to be a bit of back and forth right now. Okay. But here's the thing. Like, Joanna is showing in top lane, so Vince, the rest, they all know that this is going to be an available siege through bottom lane. Falstead going for the channel. I'm looking at the minimap. Will be interrupted by the Dahaka. Joanna still doing double soak duties. And you know what? The biggest thing about all of this is the factor of this is Dahaka missing out on experience. So this is actually equalizing from those earlier kills, but if they can find a kill into Tremor here, that would be pretty big. Groundbreakers there, some slows are applied. Tremor, around 30% HP, gets the Fire Stomp out as he is Fire Stomp build. But now, if we jump over to that altar, there's a bit of a scuffle between the Joanna and the Falstead, and I think Nasmus has to give this away, which is unfortunate to the side of Oxygen Esports, as typically, you never give that right one away.
Yeah, I've been looking at that a bit. It was Dahaka 1v2, obviously too hard. He used Burrow. Burrow to dodge a Condemn and a Hammerang, trying to get his Drag Tongue. It was dodged. Never going to win that 1v2 against Joanna. False start, not possible. Best chance was when Joanna was kind of not there and he tried to one-on-one fall, but to no avail. They were helping out each other. So nice job by WildHeart doing that 2v1 in the top. Haka must be taken seriously and can apparently even be zoned out. Madara, big damages.
Tremor, once again, the target of this combo. Chattering Teeth coming out is going to be Sticky Wicket from level 7, as we do have the change on the Junkrat with Big Az being moved to level 13. Falstead flying into the bottom lane, toss onto Madara, big Condemn coming out from the Joanna. She's going to be able to slow with the punish, and here is the origin point that's not going to be punished. Madara is okay for now, and I'm surprised that it's WildHeart who are kind of the ones getting low in this engagement, with Slug Hunter trying to back away. Nasmus, do you have a tongue? Not for another 8 seconds, and he did not go for cooldown reduction, as that is a Joanna very low. But Zergling getting chased. Vince, I don't think has enough damage to chase in, and the bell tower is not regaining health quick enough to get tower shots onto Zergling. But what we do have is going to be a double altar phase, and 10 talents here is looking good to the side of Oxygen Esports. Will they be able to get both, or will this be a trade?
Yeah, it looks like we have a really nice position for Oxygen here, actually, to zone out everything. When you have altars like this, usually it's a 2-for-0 for the red team. It's just so hard to push down into this middle altar via 2 gaps into Junkrat. You can see how they just cede control. They've been in this situation too often, WildHeart. They're not going to make the mistake trying to fight for it. That's why that bottom bell tower is so important. Interesting heroic choice from Mephisto. Do they really believe that this... I guess it's like a finisher for Tracer, and it's also very much potentially an objective choice. Just across the map, no matter what, cancel altar channels.
529 damage is how much that will do, as it does hit every enemy hero. You can be, because there's a channel time for it, right? Yeah, channel for 2.5 seconds. So you can be interrupted on that heroic, and it is, it's got a global announcement as well as a fairly obvious visual announcement. But that all aside, bottom lane being controlled by this Mephisto as WildHeart, they're just trying to go for something right now. No Lurker Strain from level 7. Nasmus, he's fine. Got a chain heal from Heavy. Ancestor Healing is off a cooldown. Big gust from the fall status. Heavy's going to be the target of this burst, and the Ancestor Healing is forced onto Heavy. Nasmus is going to be able to back away. Vince is looking for something right now. He is very low. Warlord's Challenge will be utilized. Nasmus steps back into the enemy side. Oh man, I can't believe that we go through so many of these fights, Grubby, and nobody is falling.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking the exact same thing there. Pretty crazy. Heavy did that very quick self-ancestral. He knew damage may or may not come, but the positioning of him as he got tossed in there, it was too much, and it was absolutely the right call. Mephisto never even ended up using his Durance, his, what's it called? The Consume Souls, yeah. Takes 2.5 seconds to channel, so it's not actually a great ability during the fight.
It's also a 2-minute cooldown as well, which is not the best either. 2 minutes for something that does around 600 damage. It's a little bit of a struggle to find value at that, but we'll see what happens with this. His boss is going to be tagged by Madara on accident. It will leash back. There was a potential poke onto Weird Day, but the expectation is that there will be a trade onto these. I like that Madara and Heavy are both going for the channel, making it more difficult to get the double delay or any sort of delay onto the side of Oxygen. So traded objective phases, but it's not traded in damage because it's 3 shots into the core of Oxygen where WildHeart takes 5. Big cleanse from... I'm sorry, it was Heavy. I was like, wait, hold on. Lucio's cleanse doesn't make that noise, but it is going to be the Heavy cleanse with the Purge.
Surprisingly doesn't die there. Very much that Garrosh, I've got a lot of life left, even when my health is low, and Rhaegar was close enough as well. Did the taunt just on Johanna to stop some incoming extra damage potentially, maybe some abilities. Now they're looking at Zergling. Bit too obvious. Does Zergling really believe this is a one-on-one? I love how safe his positioning is. He does a good trade, but he doesn't barrel roll forward and Thunderstrike, and I think that's where the real difference is with Zergling and me. Good job.
Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm going to hold this thought really quickly because Nasmus does land a drag onto, I believe that's the Joanna, and some high fives I think were used. Sapper camps will go through the bottom lane, and our observer's trying to catch everything, and we do appreciate it because here's an Apocalypse from the Diablo. Madara is able to get a Shade of Mephisto out of that. He gets thrown away. Madara, does he go for the Consumed Soul? It's not actually worthwhile whatsoever as I look at the health pools for the side of WildHeart. And so, single altar, bottom of the map, no sappers into the side of Oxygen. In 17 seconds, we should see WildHeart make the rotation around the map. Maybe Falstad can reconvert bottom lane. Some hammerings are chunking into this fort, and he does have that cooldown reduction from the sustained winds. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, I completely misread that. Sustained winds at level 13. That's a little interesting. It's
Percentage
a mage
damage.
build. Yeah, it's a mage build with an auto attack at 13. Typically, you go for the cooldown reduction and the ability reduction at 13, 16. So, little interesting choice right there.
I accidentally misclicked Thunderstrike once. Each subsequent Thunderstrike deals more damage without having any of the other Thunderstrike talents.
Oh, yes.
I meant to go Flow Rider, but there's still a niche scenario where it's better. It does more burst in the first 3 seconds of a fight, and if you get hit at all and you have no tailwind anyway, it's also doing more, and it synergizes with your boomerang at level 7. I vouch for it.
In a sense, you actually could argue that Sustained Winds is not incorrect by any means, and because it does pair into the hammer gain, so you do have a little bit more self-sustainability. Sorry, yes.
I'm talking about the Thunderstrike, like even the one that you never see, the W.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, sorry, I was also theorizing too.
Yeah, I think all 3 are good. Like the Giant Killer here makes a lot of sense because it bypasses Garrosh's. And again, pro players often like to draft talents for the first 3 seconds of a fight because that's all you'll get, max, in terms of CCing someone before they get saved from Ancestral and so on and so forth. So that Flow Rider talent, great for stacking boomerangs, great for throwing abilities, poking, whatnot. But if you get attacked at all, which is quite easy into Mephisto or Junkrat, taking just 1 damage, it resets your what's it called?
Tailwind.
Tailwind, and then you literally don't have that CDR. So why not do 1.5 to 2% bonus auto attack damage on the max health?
And as I said, it's going to pair into that level 4 because you're going to heal for 20% of the damage you deal, but right now the fight will break out as we have a triple altar phase coming up. Really good play from Nasus. We didn't talk about the solo laning, what he's doing, kind of, not AFK, but what he's doing up in that top lane. No bottom lane bell tower converted, and Nasmus considered going to the left-hand side, but he will go to the right, getting the channel. It is equal tower shots, but it is going to be 11 HP on the side of WildHeart, as Nasmus might be able to fight the Falstead. We do have a 4v4 down in this bottom area. Wary Day taking a lot of damage, maybe forced back. Mason Blaze looking to step in. Some hammers will be spinning from Slug Hunter as he's trying to get some stalls onto this objective phase. No big as at level 13, but that doesn't matter because you still have the Chattering Teeth value. There's an Ancestor healing onto Mephisto. I know there's an isolation onto the Falstead in top lane as I saw the animation. Madara getting very low, some chain heals coming out. There's a Falling Sword from the Johanna, and that's going to pop Mephisto. He's going to be going down in this engagement as Diablo finishes out his devastating charge. A double charge onto Vince, who tries to live, but he won't be able to. And this is looking, oh my god, that flight from Zergling as they're going to get the mid lane bell tower converted. Or not. No, they're not going to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, they already finished. You know, the thing is, that's usually like an experience exchange. Like, you get it, but your opponent sure as heck will get it back as well. It doesn't do a lot. Doesn't usually stay alive long because the minions will attack it very easily. Without a lot of space, by the way. Like, that middle bell tower is closer to the death zone than any of the others, which I guess is not something I've been like super cognizant of actually pronouncing it, but you know it's true instinctively, and it means that it's really hard to camp it and defend it and prevent the opponent from taking it back.
And there's no value.
Like, never mind.
There's no like major value. Like a top lane has a singular sapper camp, bottom lane has a double sapper camp, and bottom lane also controls the map a little bit more when it comes to the objective phases. And I've been waiting for this, but I'm not going to hold that thought actually because we have a double kill replay to kind of break down what was. Oh no, okay, never mind. We don't. We have bottom lane being pushed in. So much action.
Happening right now is kind of legendary because WildHeart got their first 2 kills of the game, but there's action going on right now with Pirate Rum's double trap. They're kind of zoning the left side, so you see WildHeart verging on the right side. Thunderstrike on Vince, poke damage. Happy's gonna keep him up, no problem. That's Garrosh. Have we seen a single consume souls yet? I don't think we have, right?
I've been noting
You
it.
knew what I was asking.
I could read your brain, Grubby. Can you read my brain? Do you want to get in? Oh, wait, hold on. Nope, we can't get into comms yet because the fight's actually breaking out, and we have a huge falling sword from Slug Hunter Riptire coming in from Junkrat. And it's going to be actual.
There it is.
Okay, they heard us talking about it. Do you want to get into some comms here?
Yeah, let's go into Oxygen.
In we go.
Just take it. Watch out for the engager here. They don't have ults though, so it's not that
It
scary.
would be good. Yeah, let's go to that camp.
If they're on the camp, yeah, we should fight it. This building dies to pumps, or to minions, I mean. Do we want to go to boss? I think they're on it.
No, get the bottom building.
Sure,
It's
sounds
open.
good. Alright.
Junks, middle.
Yeah, junk catch mid. Just be safe, because they're... Okay, they're not on boss, they're not on boss.
Okay, I'm heading up. Actually, I'll stick around.
Okay.
There'll be 20. We need a sub 20.
Yeah, we have a lot of time to get there.
Going up.
Let them push the wave to
Yeah,
us.
left and back out. That's not gonna be scoreable, I think.
Diablo's coming mid right now. We don't see Tracer as well. I'm gonna go Vision around here.
Remember, they have 20 gusts now. Be careful of that. Stay super split.
They're just on boss, I think.
Like, if we survive their goes, like, they can do it.
Is there a way you can check it? Yeah, if they're on it, let's push. Okay, they're on Nasmith. Let's push, let's push, let's push.
I'm okay, push, yeah.
Trying to get a vision.
Yeah, that's fine.
I
I don't
when
think we can actually push the building though. They could Z down
John,
to
can
us.
you come down? Go down with them.
Okay.
We'll be 20
You
out
do
of
this
these
in
way.
time?
Yeah, oh, they're here, they're here. Back up, back up.
No, they're not here. It's like 2 or 3 people.
There's 3 of them on us. We can't. They're on Vince here.
Can you live? Can you live?
There's a
They're flying, they're
chance.
flying. Watch the guys for the flying.
I think he's
There's
probably
Rekko. We need to
screwed.
reset. We need to get 20. We have to.
Yeah. Are you dead, Nesmus? I'm coming over to you. Okay, that's Gus as well.
Oh,
Run!
what is going on?
I think we're
Fine, that's good. Let's get the reload.
Yeah, this is fine. We get 20.
We can probably defend this with 20. They use
Yeah.
all their shit, right?
Yeah. We need
I have
everyone here,
endless nades. I have endless nades.
though. How close do you know
I'm
Mage
on
is the front line?
Yeah.
We got to hear some insights as to exactly how Oxygen were kind of communicating and what their game plan was. The fight does continue, though, in this bottom lane as we have the Apocalypse trying to play into this death of Garrosh, and there's going to be a pick onto the Mephisto. Heavy to fall as well, Falling Sword in from the Joanna, and this is going to this will end up being a triple kill to the side of WildHeart, with that Hellgate earlier getting a kill onto Garrosh. Really well played. Boss was played earlier as well, and this is one of my favorite reasons that I like casting playing this map, is that it's anyone's game, Grubby. 3-4 minutes ago, it was like 20-something to 11 HP, and now we sit with actually WildHeart now gaining back the advantage as it's 11-7 in this core HP, favoring WildHeart. Just, I gotta say, it's really commendable to WildHeart how they're actually turning the tide onto Oxygen, who looked so dominant at the start of this map.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, you got us out just in time, seconds before disaster, as Oxygen did lose those 2 extra. And like you said, on any other map, open keep, bottom lane, enemy side of the map, you killed 2 at level 20, they would have ended the game. They would have gone for core, but not here. Oxygen gets another chance, but it is dwindling, their chances. It's hard for them to gap close now, you know. Usually, whoa, just getting barrage damage here. He's gonna gust for that. Actually,
that's smart. That's actually really smart, in my opinion.
It's not mid game, but they're now mobbing. The mid fort, and they have 49 seconds to get it back, or maybe 42 seconds to get it back before the barrage of the cannonade cavalcade finishes the game.
It's actually a little fun fact about that, because I was casting this map a while ago, and there was a point where there was a team that actually got the 6 cap, or all of the bell towers, to their favor. There's actually a point where the barrage actually speeds up a little bit. Because I was watching, I was like, am I going crazy? And one of my viewers sat there and did the math and like clipped it, and they're like, yeah, I forget the exact number, but there's a point where the bell tower shots actually start to speed up in their trajectory from your core to the enemy. Because usually it's like one shot, and then when it hits the enemy core, another one comes out. But there was a point where I was like, there's a missile mid-air, and another one's already coming out from Raven Lord into Grave. So there is a point where it does speed up a little bit. I'd have to go back and find it, or maybe I have to just scroll up in the messages with one of my friends when we get to a break at some point. But it looks like we have a little bit of a game crash on one of the players. It's no bad blood, no toxicity, and any of this kind of stuff. It's basically bad timing, and the players actually in the game, they're all saying like, we're not doing this, we're not trying to be toxic, we're not trying to like DC because we're tilted or something like that. It's just this is unfortunately someone's game crash. So on the note of what's happening in this game, this is a hard one, Grubby, because I'm looking at mid lane, and Oxygen is setting up to retake mid. They've got a Mimic Mephisto that does a ton of damage, and Heavy went into the Pit Fighter on Rhaegar at level 20.
So he's got 3 stacks of Pit Fighter now, because he's shadowed by 2 allies, and he himself counts. So he has 30% bonus auto attack damage and 12 bonus spell power. That's funny. It reminds me of Tassadar's AoE talent, the Kala's Gift. And watching a European streamer who said it's so grief, this guy, when he's on my team, wasn't me by the way, always takes his Tassadar Kala's Gift. It looks so cool. Like, it looks a lot of fun. You stand together, everyone has more spell power. It should be good, but I guess that streamer wanted Twilight Archon or Force Wall Permanence, both pretty darn good too.
The other little note on Pit Fighter as well is while you have 2 stacks, so while you're around 1 ally, because Rhaegar, as Grubby mentioned, Rhaegar counts as one of the stacks. Purge cooldown refreshes 50% faster as well. So the 45-second cooldown can go a little bit faster, but we're back in the game. We need to get this mid lane bell tower converted for the side of Oxygen so they can continue this Towers of Doom game, but the shots are raining in.
Holy Vince!
Wow.
So much control, so little follow-up, sadly. I mean, I guess this was like
bottom! GG's.
Yeah, I mean, they had to. They couldn't. They couldn't send a person away for the sappers, I think, just for the chance of an all-out brawl. They wanted to maximize damage on the fort. Wow, that pause timing though.
That was I really like the matchup here, and I thought we actually had a lot of really cool moments between both sides. I was rallying a little bit for Oxygen because of that start that they had on this map, and I was thinking that maybe this would be that equalization with the damage that they dealt. I mean, Mephisto is 69,000 heroic damage justing. Where did it all fall apart? Because I feel like there was a point where it did start to just crumble on the Oxygen side.
Yeah, there was the moment where they had their level 20 advantage and WildHeart got boss and then got those picks bottom. They got the pick onto Garrosh at first, and it was kind of funny. It was actually... Grubby hinted on this as well during the game, but we had listened to Oxygen comms, and in the comms, first of all, just about their comms, it almost felt like Nazmaz and Madara were duo queuing or something. There's definitely a significant drop-off in comms compared to WildHeart on the side of Oxygen. It really felt like Madara and Nazmaz were the only two voices I really heard. There was one other time where a third member chimed in and let out a big fat yawn in the comms, but for the most part, there wasn't too much going on there in their comms, but it was kind of funny. It was like the Falstad uses the Gust bottom and they lose their one member, and we hear, "We can defend, right?" Smile. They used all their stuff, but they didn't use all their stuff. They really only used the Gust. The Gust was the only cooldown that was used by the side of WildHeart to get that kill, and that was sort of moments before disaster, as it was hinted. Because as soon as they said that, we leave comms, and then the double kill happens under the fort, and that was really the moment where WildHeart started taking control of this game. A lot of the early game, I think, really came down to just, honestly, I would say a macro blunder coming out from WildHeart with the way that they set up their lanes. Zergling on the Falstad really wanted to 2v1 top, and he was only playing mid-top for almost the entire early game, and Oxygen was able to get a very early bot for it because of that. You're expecting a Lucio, Diablo, and Tracer to somehow be able to clear the wave bottom in a 3 versus 4. None of those heroes can clear the wave. You have Tracer, no wave clear at all. Lucio, no wave clear at all, and Diablo with no wave clear. And he is also up against Garrosh and Junkrat, who Junkrat can clear the wave really fast. And if Garrosh ever gets in range of anyone, Tremor just had to evade death over and over again in that bot lane on the Diablo. And he did a good job at that, but they can't clear the wave. So that led to Oxygen getting a very, very early bot fort, which is what kind of got them such an early lead in that game. WildHeart did make an important decision after that to be able to take top fort and trade, which kind of started them getting a little bit back into the game. But that's why they were so far behind. And once it got to the level 20s, though, it was just all WildHeart. They were down 15 to 29 shots. And after that, it was 11 to 21, 11-16, 11-4, 11-3, and then finally the Sappers go in. It almost felt like they were playing a card game at the end there. Like, we thought it was over with the shots being denied, and Oxygen like, oh, nice, good. We stopped the six cap. And then you see the 3 little Sapphires come in bottom to hit the exact 3 they needed to kind of just get that lethal. So really, like, perfect execution at the end from WildHeart. Really, really sick comeback. And I'm going to be critical of some things. Sure. The Mephisto ultimate, why? I don't understand why you take that ultimate. It's like not having an ult, in my opinion. We saw it come out that one time, and it kind of just tickled the side of WildHeart, and they walked away. A little weird. Not really understanding that, but I mean, that's honestly my main complaint on that. But really well played by both teams, and especially WildHeart being able to rally at the end there and just pick after pick, just perfect macro in the end. It's really well played to be able to close that out.
It's a hard-fought game on the side of Oxygen, as they were in the advantage for the vast majority of that game, but it just all fell apart in the latter half. It was almost like WildHeart played a trap card in round 1 and Oxygen forgot about it in round 13 and activated it by accident. And, well, they got to go to Toon World and deal with all of that fun stuff. But either way, let's continue into our series, as we are going to be getting into a map 3 in just a second, but we have to take a break as always because we got to let these players stretch their legs, get some water, and in that break I encourage you to hit ! prize pool. Why? Because it takes you over to the match arena and you could donate towards the prize pool and push us closer and closer to that 10K. We're right now at $9,420 because of your support. So thank you all at home for donating towards HeroesCCL. And if you'd like to push that prize pool, we very much do appreciate it. But as I said, we're going to a small break. When we come back, we'll find out. Will WildHeart 3-0 Oxygen, or will Oxygen start to rally and start the reverse sweep? Don't go anywhere. This is HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom. My name is Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justing, and I'm going to go ahead, and if there are issues, I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I'm sorry, sometimes, you know, the bears step on my internet wires, so if my voice gets a little robot-y, I do apologize. But either way, that might not be the case right now. What the case is now is going to be WildHeart Esports up against Oxygen. We were just talking in the break between us about how strong WildHeart is looking today, and we can also look at the next map as we can continue this discussion about, well, WildHeart looking so really, really strong. This is going to be the next map choice by WildHeart, choosing to take us to Tomb of the Spider Queen, and that means that Oxygen Esports has opted in for first pick priority. Justing, this could be a 3-0 for WildHeart. Like, I guess the question I should actually be posed to you is, could this be a 3-0 for WildHeart? Because it feels like it will be.
Yeah, it definitely could be. We are in the position where reverse sweeps can happen. Obviously, we're down 0-2 in the series for the side of Oxygen, but WildHeart is really looking strong this week. I know that they've maybe not been too happy with their results so far. We know at the start of the season they were kind of hyping me up about how good they were going to do, and that wasn't really coming through. So seeing them now able to kind of bring it back and learn from any mistakes in the previous weeks, it's nice to see them all on the same page again. And this is a map on Tomb where they have a lot of opportunity to play to their strengths, where they can be as a 4-man quite a bit, they can be as a 5-man a lot. They function extremely well, probably the best out of any team, as that kind of 5-man unit. When they're all on the same page, they have really good synergy together. They combo off of each other exceptionally well, so getting some kind of combo-based setup here will be really good for them. Not going to get the Medivh though, so that takes a little bit away from the potential of WildHeart.
We did have that Medivh Stitches, I was like week 1 or 3 or something like that. It was really, really, really fun to watch, and good control overall from the side of WildHeart, as that kind of has been their motif today, Grubby, is just a lot of control from the WildHeart Esports crew.
Yeah, and it comes from that synergy you guys are talking about, because you can put together the same thing that won't look the same. So if WildHeart ends up winning this, will definitely be deserved from what we can see so far. Having a little bit of a private laugh as well at the first 2 bans here, Johanna and Medivh, because I remember distinctly, I check win rates sometimes on the third-party websites. I remember when Medivh and Johanna were literally the 2 lowest win rates in Storm League. So not only the contrast of Storm League and Pro Play, but also the change of times is pretty cool to see. But these are 100% sensible bans. Lunara removes a cleanse that is not from a support. Medivh on Zerkling's hands is just insane. Johanna has been topping damage numbers. Now we're gonna have a first pick Mephisto, and also removing his greatest counter, a Nubarak with the cocoon and the spell armor. Pretty sick opening. We don't see this a whole lot. Mephisto first. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I think it's really strange to pick it so early. There is one other counter to Mephisto still available in the Stitches. So we'll see if Oxygen looks to pick that up really early here. The Gorge, just like the Cocoon, stops Mephisto from teleporting back to his E. If they don't pick it here, I think it would be banned. They do pick it here. So good on them to recognize and take advantage of that early Mephisto pick, because it is brave taking it this early in the draft. And while they did deny the Anubarak, they didn't deny the Stitches in their bans. So good by Oxygen. Good heads up, thinking ahead here to not get that banned out and get that Stitches here where they needed to.
And what
Do you
a
think
head.
we could see... Oh, please.
No, just saying, what a head he has, Stitches. Definitely not worth interrupting you if I knew you were going to say something.
You're fine. I was actually just going to ask, and it's kind of answered here, is there any sort of consideration into like a Malfurion or Tyrande ban because of the synergy of that, or is it already kind of locked in, Justing, with the Stitches Junkrat, hook into Steel Trap?
Yeah, I think the Malf ban could have made sense. I'm not entirely sure what the exact reasoning is behind the Hanzo ban. I don't know who that's necessarily directed towards. It might just be more of a general, they want to ban away a range that gives them damage against the Anubarak. That's good on this map. Hanzo does have quite a bit of wave clear once he gets the Explode EQ at 4. I don't know any of the talent names, I just know what they do, their functions. So he gets the Explosion Q at 4, so denying that on the side of Tomb, because they do need someone who's going to have a little bit of wave clear on Tomb, as well as someone who punishes the Anubarak. So I think that's kind of what they're thinking here.
I think Mater in the past has played quite a bit of Hanzo, and I do actually, as we're kind of discussing this, there's the opportunity if like there's a Gorge, that means Hanzo can basically line up a perfect scatter and get 7 scatters into the face, or as you were saying with the explosive arrow, get a little extra explosive damage. But here comes a Lucio and a Tychus for the side of Oxygen Esports. I do like this because the Lucio high 5 allows Stitches to be able to run away, mitigates any sort of, maybe there's a Cocoon from a Nubarak or a Burrow Charge, Impale, a Righteous Hammer, a Chastise. There's a lot of really good tools on the side of WildHeart to slow down a Gorge disengage as the Vala comes through for the side of WildHeart. As we see both these drafts, I got to get your thoughts here, Justin, as we're loading into Tomb of the Spider Queen. Could be the final map of the day.
Yeah, it definitely could be, especially with what they've drafted. I do like what both sides has here. I would have maybe preferred, like you had mentioned, the Malfurion instead of the Lucio on the side of Oxygen. I think having that good, safe, guaranteed follow-up off of the Stitches hook and root, or the Gorge combo, being able to spit them out on top of a root, is very, very effective. The Lucio doesn't really seem to fit too much with this composition. I think it's mostly to counter the Urel. Urel has wind up on all of her abilities. So in a similar way to how ETC kind of counters Urel, Lucio does the same thing if you're able to play it really well, being able to boop the Urel and not really allow her to play the game. But I think that might be less important than having that potential follow-up from the Malf. So especially with how they're going to be playing really defensively, I'm expecting Oxygen to just sort of set up and play very slowly and defensively. They have a lot of wave clear with Junkrat, be able to turtle for a long amount of time while they just look for hooks, Stitches. But I'm not sure they're going to have the lockdown that they need. They do have the Junkrat, but that's pretty much it. And Junkrat Trap can be cleansed by Urel, and Anduin can also pull you out if he's in range to follow up, to get in range to pull you from the Gorge. So overall, I'm preferring WildHeart's comp. The combo-based style from Oxygen might get punished quite a bit by the Urel and Vala, who just have a lot of sustained damage. And if they don't get engaged on and die immediately, the Vala Urel should win the long fight.
Oh, we'll find out if that's going to be the case here, Justin. Thank you for the analysis and breakdown as always, because in the blue, we've got WildHeart Esports, Zergling on the Mephisto, Slug Hunter on the Urel, Mason Blaze on the Vala, Tremor on the Anubrak, and Weary Day on the Anduin. Over in the red, looking to start that reverse sweep, or at least put one up on the board, we got Oxygen Esports, Mater on the Tychus, Pirate on the Junkrat, Heavy on the Lucio, Nasmus to play Blaze, and Vince on the Stitches. We get into mid lane, Grubby. I'm the Copium, the Hopium. It's all there for me. I'm going to vote for an Oxygen win. I want us to go to a map number 4, but I also think they've got a lot of cool tools to utilize into the WildHeart draft. What do you think about this? Stitches, hook, big damage. You want to make a prediction, Grubby?
Yep, I'm with you, mate. I think Oxygen's got the nuts. Never vote against Stitches Junkrat, and this is no different. I feel like I also kind of see the Lucio's reasoning as well. Anubrak wasn't just the premeditated deny into countering Mephisto, making sure that the Anubrak is on the Mephisto side. It also preordains the Stitches pick. When both are on one side, you want the Anub normally to counter Stitches. So it's a great double pick by WildHeart. You can cocoon that Gorge away, making sure that someone doesn't get abducted too far. And he's got escape after getting hooked. Though Burrow Charge cannot be used if you're in a Junkrat trap. So there is that part. That's where the Lucio comes in, I feel like. If you, not only can you speed your Stitches away faster with that soundtrack, but you can also high five and cleanse the cocoon so that it never ends up landing.
And cocoon has easiest way to put it is kind of like D&D terms. It has a trajectory. It's a missile, so it is going. You can see it going towards the target. And so if Lucio if Heavy is as good as Heavy is, then I'm assuming he'll be able to kind of see that target, hit the high five. And that's at least my expectation, because, and I agree with you, Grubby, I think there's some counteracting between both sides with Nubrak into Stitches, but then Lucio into Anubrak, so it's a lot of cool push and pull as we have this mid lane being forced in. Anubrak looking for a couple combos into Vince, who does get Righteous hammered around. He's sitting around 60-ish% HP, goes out for the hook, lands onto Slug Hunter, who is going to get slammed. There's a concussion mine in front of the gate, but the Leap of Faith from Weary Day saves the day, while Tremor gets a little poke damage from Madara.
That was basically a second kill chance. Like in soccer, you call that a shot for open goal, or like a scoring attempt.
Yeah.
Because that Urel would have been dead, I think, if not for Weary Day's yoink. So
yeah,
that's 2 hooks so far into either a concussive follow-up or a concussive follow-up threat that were just absolutely lethal. Vince making the plays and his team ready for it. Love to see it. Oxygen, I think they're going to fight back hard on this map.
This is the time to do it, because as Justin and you had mentioned before this matchup, this is an important one for Oxygen for standings. WildHeart definitely can move around in the standings, but I think it's more important for the Oxygen so they don't get pushed around on the bubble that they are. I believe they're sitting at number 3 in our standings. Yeah, they're number 3 in our standings, so they can get pushed around a little bit. Diamond Hands just underneath them. We'll see Diamond Hands a little bit later this weekend.
Let's see. If Oxygen loses 0-3, they would be +1 score differential 4-3. They would still actually be over Storm.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay, so it's not that bad of a spot if they do get 3-0'd here, and we'll see if that's the case. Madara, with like 200-something HP, needs to be cognizant of those Skull Missiles from Zergling, because the Skull Missile over the wall could have got that kill, but Madara will Hearth back for full mana and HP as a little turn-in does happen. Zergling dives forward, and another hook out from Vince, but it won't connect this time. 6 3/4 level for both sides. Turn-in availability existing on the side of Oxygen. Members of WildHeart chasing onto a heavy kill that won't be yielded.
Will not materialize just now. Red Web Weavers turning in. Nice distraction there by Heavy as well. And as the Impale misses, once more back to that score screen. Again, if Oxygen loses 0-3, Storm doesn't overtake them, but WildHeart overtakes all of them. If WildHeart wins 3-0, they are third place, and then if Diamond Hands, and if Diamond Hands 3-0, it's all about whether Diamond Hands and WildHeart played against each other and how that result went. Do you remember who won that?
Diamond Hands. Okay, yeah.
So if WildHeart 3-0, Diamond Hands 3-0, Diamond Hands is actually third. It's like almost anything is possible. Storm is watching here. They don't want this 3-0 because that means they are not top 3. But if Oxygen wins, makes the reverse sweep, then Storm is also still just fourth. Okay, Storm cannot actually get third. It's all between Diamond Hands, WildHeart, and Oxygen.
And Diamond Hands will go up against Chili Mountain in our final matchup of the weekend tomorrow afternoon. But as we are in this matchup, it's Tomb of the Spider Queen. It's early rotations where you see a couple kills here and there. But this is also a nice time for us to kind of break down some of these stats, because this is a very, very important game, I think, for both of these teams either way. And WildHeart looking to just kind of move around in the standings, or at least maybe shake up some of these standings. And thank you always, Grubby, for the detailed analysis in that, because I always struggle, like, it's like plus minus here and there. Oh no, it all gets confusing because we're live. But a great burrow charge from Tremor means that Nasmus can't get the jet propulsion, but here comes Slug Hunter with a massive Righteous Hammer into Vince's face, trying to body block Heavy with some amplified speed. As with the one kill that we have to the side of Oxygen, we have a slight experience advantage to our red team.
I feel like Oxygen is in a fantastic spot. Normally with Stitches, you're hoping not to fall too much behind and then come back with some cheese, hooks, and gorges. The fact that they are actually leading speaks much to their control of the map, with the wave clear between Blaze, Tychus, and Junkrat, and the effectiveness of those early hook combos. Even though there's a lack of overall follow-up in terms of CC, I believe Stitches Junkrat is all you need. You don't need layers of CC. As long as the combo between those two is working out. So Pirate Rum, Vince, much is down to their shoulders, but I think they can. I think they can get it done. So let's check it out. If Heavy can get his part done as well, he wants to hit the speed track and the high five on Stitches at the right time.
There's, oh my god, the Leap of Faith is on point as a Nubrak is able to get away with some 500 HP. Gets a, wait, no, he doesn't get away because Heavy is chasing on in. The Riptire is going to be canceled early because I think there was a dive onto this Junkrat. As Tremor lives with a little bit of HP, Nasmus is going to get cocooned. It was funny because I was sitting there and I was like, man, Stitch is gonna. Oh, wait.
Oh, Mason Blaze, great move, Heavy. It really looked like he could live rent-free on the side of WildHeart.
Yep.
He was actually taking so little damage, but Mason Blaze with the perfect Rain of Vengeance and burst shots.
I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, are you gonna land this hook on a Nubrak? Who's gonna cocoon? Oh, wait, no, you can't cocoon inside the gorge. So it was a good attempt, but a wonderful leap of faith from Anduin to counteract any sort of kill onto Tremor. And once again, the momentum has shifted heavily. I wouldn't actually heavily is a overuse of term, but the momentum has definitely shifted over to WildHeart with this Web Weaver phase and these engagements. But I don't know. I was gonna say, I don't know if we're done engaging here. Tremor is being pressured by Nasmus, but they will back away as Nasmus is gonna get the interrupt on the mount for a Nubrak.
Vince has Scourge available. He just received a high five. That actually gave Tremor the knowledge, like, hey, he cannot get he cannot get high fived again. But it feels like bait. He used everything before Gorge target was chosen, so could then not save his ally anymore. Circling, doing a bit of poke damage. Nice save by Weary Day. I'd be very surprised if Weary Day at level 16 doesn't get that second charge of Leap of Faith.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
far, he's gonna have to, right?
Mm-hmm. with the amount of aggression that's coming out. And then keep in mind, you've got hook cooldown talents, you've got the level 13 jump in range on hook. Once you hit level 13, you get 40% increased range on that hook. And Vince, he's been shy on a couple hooks here and there, so that could be exactly what he needs, as Tremor is going to try and disengage, but he gets pulled back in, and it's just constant hooks left and right. I'm actually going to leave that open for myself so I can keep an eye on when those hooks are up and available, because it's 1 second. Hook is ready to go once again.
All right, let's see. No level 13 yet. May just be worth waiting for that 13. Not a lot of follow-up yet here either. Junkrat's still defending top. Tremor wants to go in because they know that. Do they know that? Yeah, they do know that.
Whoa!
Huge.
That was... Let's talk about the difference between Durance of Hate and Consume Soul, because right there, that's the value of Durance of Hate setting up that kill into Lucio. Nasmus gets the friendly hook, but is there enough chase? No. Yes! No? Yes?
Oh! Nasmus with the sidestep on the circle. A little bit of burning oil. I thought that at the least they would save his gems with that great helping hand. But it's more than that. They even saved the blades. A fantastic job. Blue Web Weavers do go... Oh! Oh. He had Gorge. He decided not to.
My literal first thought was, where's the Gorge? When's the Gorge? Is it coming? Is it going to happen? I guess not. But Riptire to try and clear out mid-wave and get a little damage onto Tremor, who is getting chunked by Madara.
Oh, into the fountain. Still, that's fine. It procced the Leap of Faith. Still a result for Vince and Oxygen there. Meanwhile, looking at the top lane, Zerkling is just damaging the fort. Nasmas defending that. Durance missed. Burrow Charge Impale hits. That should be Nasmas dead.
And there'll be a follow-up onto Heavy because the Rain of Vengeance will lock him down. There's going to be
No, it was the root. It was Anduin's root. The double root.
Oh, that is way too well played from the side of WildHeart Esports as they continue to push him through top lane with, 25% HP on the Webweaver, something like that. But it doesn't matter because it's a triple kill and a keep front gate to fall. I like this call from WildHeart. Go ahead, get yourself the boss. And I'm going to quickly do some gem math here, Grubby. No, not enough for another turn-in from the side of WildHeart.
Man, WildHeart, I feel like they're really just outplaying. Like a few small victories here for Oxygen, but WildHeart, they're looking confident. They're looking succinct. They're looking on point.
Definitely, I wouldn't say a different WildHeart, because I'm kind of thinking back to last weekend, WildHeart versus Diamond Hands, and Diamond Hands took that in a 3-1. And WildHeart didn't look as good as this, in my opinion. And I know, we did have a different tank that weekend as well. So, I don't want to chalk it up and be like, oh, it was Lupus's fault. It was just different synergy, different play. And the synergy is in play for this, as we do have a kill onto Lucio. The boss bait was immaculate. Just chef kiss for the boss bait.
Yeah. But how good is Tremor playing, though? Again, no knock to Lupus whatsoever. I think he was good. Tremor's decisive. He's on point.
And that's something, it's not only just the player themselves, it's also the practice, the synergy. Tremor's been playing with this team throughout the season, so they have that, they all have the communication style. It's hold on, maybe we have Nasmus falling here. I was kind of waiting to see if he gets away, and he actually does get away, but it's like you were so kind of
got the gems over the wall.
I got the gems.
And how many charges does he still have of that? He still has a charge of Leap of Faith, so Weary fine with that. Nice high five there, like you guys were saying. Pretty big wind up on Urel stun, so there was a real cool block on Tychus there. Boss on the keep though, it's gonna, I'd say leave the keep at about 20%.
I will say 22.
Okay, I will calculate it on my calculator
so,
and see who it's closer.
Did you notice that Anubarak's Price is Right's rules? Did you notice that Anubarak's burrow charges are slightly further than you expect them? Because that one burrow charge is like, man, that's a very, very far distance. He actually went this whole Under King, Subterranean Shield, Epicenter. This is an aggressive playstyle for this Anubarak, because usually you go for like the Shed Exoskeleton at level 4, and you can buzz around at mount speed without being mounted.
He wants to get that reach on Stitches to save allies. This isn't so much I want to be maneuverable. This isn't so much I want to CC and close sustained battles with the bed of barbs. Nah, this is like, my dude got abducted and I'm going to go after him. A real hero. or in this case, real far away. Still gets eaten though. Oh, ironic. Another cast occurs. Huge durance of hate there by Circling. Slug Hunter gratefully follows up. Madara dropping low. If only it was 2016 Odin, that would have definitely saved him. Second health bar. Not so much this time though. Bang! Hammer to the head. And that's a 3-kill.
And they make it 4 onto Nasmus. Tremor is still stepping forward, might have some abilities, doesn't go for it as the turn-in availability does exist to the side of WildHeart Esports. I don't want to flame them too much for this, but I gotta say, Durance of Hate getting a hell of a lot more value than Consumed Soul.
Yeah, but you can miss it. You can miss it. Zerkling can't miss it though, seemingly. Maybe once.
I mean, it's a 50-second cooldown. You got Shard of Hate at level 13 as well, which is cooldown on your Lord of Hatred. Yeah, your basics. So you're still throwing out a lot of abilities. Sorry, I was mixing up the level 13, the Hysteria, which gives you cooldown on your.
Get Hysteria.
I love the Hysteria at level 13. But I get it because I have played a lot more Mephisto lately. And Shard of Hate, I get why it's picked up. It is really, really good. Wave clear, poke, spread, cooldown reduction, etc. But my games are not the case. The case is right now the big dive onto the Stitches, who is going to get hit with Durance of Hate, Light Bomb, a new Barak. Everything is thrown into the face of Vince, and he finally falls. To Slug Hunter, who is going to be able to get that last auto attack. Nasmus goes down the left-hand side of our screen. And ladies and gentlemen, the members of WildHeart Esports are going to 3-0 Oxygen Esports. What a wild series between these two teams. But I have to say, WildHeart, the dominant factor in this entire series. Sorry, production singing to me. Anyways, it was a really, really good series. WildHeart comes out on top in a dominant fashion. Like we said control earlier, this game was dominant from the side of WildHeart. Mephisto, Zergling, super well played, but Slug Hunter was kind of the MVP here for me, Justing. There was actually one of those last kills around the turn-in area before they started going core. Instead of auto-attacking and getting the kill, Slug Hunter channeled the Avenging Wrath to get the Goomba kill onto the enemy. It's just little style points, and definitely WildHeart looking very, very strong and powerful today in this matchup.
Yeah, it was a bit of a toss-up for me between Mephisto, played by Zergling, and Slug Hunter playing the Urel. He did get the Goomba Stomp to kill the Tychus when he was transforming into Odin, so a bit of style points there. And also something else that really cool at the end there, when WildHeart commits to just ending the game and winning the fight, they go on to Stitches with the Durance, and Slug Hunter on the Urel, looks for the Lucio and waits for him to get close and hammers him away so that he can't go for the high five. And that was really sick. And that's just kind of the full display of how coordinated WildHeart are when they're all playing together and when they're synergized. Just everyone's thinking the same thing. They're all on the same page. They know they want to kill that Stitches, and everyone knows what their best part in doing that is, what their job is, what their role is in that situation. And I really do like to see that coming out from WildHeart. That's something for me when I was playing on WildHeart as a shot caller. I like to give more concept-based things like that so that you can get to a point where everyone just knows their individual roles for the greater scheme of what your goal is. And it seems like WildHeart right now is fully understanding that. They know what their roles are on the team together, and they're very synergized, super coordinated. And this was just domination coming out from WildHeart in this game 3. Even they get the picks top right here, which this was perfect macro as well. After this, they pushed top, which meant that the bot spider was the one that was going to be the last one to die. And since that's the case, that's what creates the space for them to be able to play for that boss play. Where they played for the boss, since the enemy rotated early, it ended up just being a bait. Here's the Goomba Stomp from Slug. But on the boss point, being able to kind of control the entire map like that is very impressive, knowing that the bot spider is the last one to die, so you're able to push for play for boss. That's kind of a common thing that you don't always get the opportunity to do that. And part of that comes down to a fault on Oxygen. You really don't want the bot spider to be the last one alive, because otherwise you'll be in that situation where you have to be bottom to clear it while the boss is becoming available out of the spiders. But setting the map up perfectly for that just shows just how much control WildHeart really did have. And yeah, just Mephisto, huge Durances twice on the bottom turn-in. His ultimate did something. It was really cool. It worked. It got kills. It was useful. I liked that a lot. And yeah, I wasn't sure about the super early Mephisto pick, but they pulled it off. And WildHeart looks just insane today in the series against Oxygen. well played by them and well-deserved 3-0.
Well deserved, well played, and well done to the side of WildHeart. And we're not done discussing WildHeart by any means. We've got Mason Blaze joining us for a short little interview. Mason, can you hear me, my friend?
Yes, how are you guys doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. Congratulations on your victory up against Oxygen. I have to ask, how you feeling?
Feeling really good. I'm glad that our last game of the regular season was in a fairly dominant fashion after a season that we weren't necessarily that happy with.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that you are rallying behind this 3-0. And as always, I'm not going to hog every question, so let me go ahead and throw it over to Justin for a question or two.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations. And there was a very obvious difference between this week, or last week, and this week, especially with sort of how it felt like shot calling was happening in the comms. It felt like when we listened to comms, you had all 5 members kind of communicating somewhat evenly. How are you guys deciding that you're doing your shot calling on the team right now? Because it seems kind of different to me right now from previous weeks.
Yeah, from week to week, it almost feels like it changes. Primarily, it's always been Zergling, but after some scrims in our last CCL match, it feels like we're trying to work on every player knowing their roles, knowing where to be, what to do, what to say, rather than just kind of putting it all on Zergling's back.
Definitely seems to be working. And yeah, congrats. You guys looked super strong today.
Thank you.
Very, very strong play coming out from the side of WildHeart. And of course, Grubby, any questions for Mason Blaze?
Yeah, Mason Blaze, with your today's performance, you've given yourself the best possible chance into top 3. With your score differential and your performance against Oxygen, you've placed yourself over Oxygen for a potential top 3, bypassing the gauntlet. Only a result of Diamond Hands that's 3-0 would have them be over you because they beat you in the direct comparison. If they 3-0 Chili Mountain, they're third, you're not. If they 3-2, 3-1, or anything else which is a loss, they don't. Were you aware of this situation? And also with the likelihood that Chili Mountain, I see you nodding no, go ahead and take it away. You didn't look at it, just focus on the game.
Yeah, I had no idea that was the case. I do think though that Chili Mountain with some of the roster changes is looking a lot better. So I'd honestly say our chances are maybe even higher than what a lot of people think. I think Chili Mountain might actually be able to take a few games to Diamond Hands.
So looks like it might be quite common then, likely in your mind to get top 3, and we'll see if that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm just hopeful. Hopefully,
you don't want to jinx it.
No, exactly. I just hopefully some Chili Mountain can win some games.
One step of prediction. Let's say that it does happen. Chili Mountain wins 1 map minimum. You're third. You would then face Simplicity in the playoffs. That's a little while away though, and there's going to be some practice time until then. How do you view that match?
Simplicity has definitely shown that they're a super hard contender, and it seems like we struggle versus them quite a lot. Their playstyle, and going into it, we'll just practice. We've been really good at practicing for specific matches, preparing. When we scrimmed teams that aren't the team we're playing versus, we would play versus them, we play with them like them. So I think there's enough time where we will be able to definitely improve a lot and hopefully end up winning.
All right, well, exciting stuff, and I know you all will probably be sitting there in a little watch party tomorrow afternoon watching that Diamond Hands versus Chili Mountain matchup and probably rooting a little bit for Chili Mountain. But Mason Blaze, thank you so much for joining us. Before I let you run out of here, are there any shouts that you'd like to give? The floor is all yours.
Yeah, shout out to my team. Have really fun season so far. Shout out to my org, WildHeart. It's awesome. Shout out to all the members of HeroesHearth for running this awesome tournament. And shout out to Twitch chat.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on your 3-0 versus Oxygen Esports, and we'll definitely be thinking of you tomorrow in that Diamond Hands versus Chili Mountain matchup. But you have a good time, have a great holiday, and have some great scrims in the meanwhile.
Thank you, you too.
Thanks for joining. Exciting stuff. And like Grubby, thank you as always for breaking down these stats, because I know there's a lot of people at home who like the detailed stats of, plus minus who can move where, and it really is exciting. The storyline for HeroesCCL Season 3 is very close. I feel like every single season this week 7 gets like tighter and tighter when it comes to the competition. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, everything is set in stone, because it's not. We have so much still to come for the matches tomorrow, but I don't think we actually move into those matches just yet. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there might be the most amazing, the super duper, the awesome power play of the day presented by Wisdom. Justin, I think you got that for us, right?
Yep, I sure do. I've got a clinic put on by the side of Storm Esports in Game 5 of how to end the game before level 20 on Volskaya. So you can go ahead and get right into that. Something really interesting here is what Lauber does. He goes out of vision, so that's why Red Robot got caught here. They got the 1 pick and they stick around. He thinks that Lauber's gone, but Lauber actually dipped out of vision and then ran back through the back end of the brush, so he didn't see him until he was already coming right back. So just a cool little small move here, and they step up to the core 5v3, knowing that there's 7 seconds until Falstad respawns. And they're just playing really slow here, hitting the core, waiting for anyone to make a mistake. You see Dequaza floating around, and then instantly, the second Skog walks up, he gets crushed by the Buried Alive. You get damage onto Butcher, and if we can get a bit of a slow-mo here, if we can slow this down, here comes the big move by Ivy Tanks. Look at the patience on the grenade. He waits for the Brightwing to TP. Boom. A very satisfying double kill, killing off the Butcher and the Brightwing, and that's just about what seals the game here. Falstad's alive, but Falstad now in a 1 versus 4 situation, not going to be enough. Storm Esports understanding that they need to end the game before level 20 against the Butcher comp. Well played by Storm.
Extremely well played by Storm, and oh, that grenade kill, like when I was watching it, it was so satisfying. I absolutely agree with you. Getting a double kill with a Tychus grenade on 2 low health pool heroes, one of them being Butcher as well, is very satisfying because you also reduce the amount of meat that he has. But it has been an extremely fun day here at HeroesCCL, and unfortunately, that was our last matchup of the day. But I believe we can look forward into. Excuse me, sorry, I jumped the gun, my bad. We can actually look at the standings. The standings right now, we do have Granite Gaming, Chili Mountain at the bottom. Grubby, things still can move around just a little bit.
Yeah, in fact, more than I even insinuated in that interview just now, as 30K Simplicity, of course, have a match tomorrow. I was looking at their current standing. 30K would have to beat Simplicity for that hypothetical to make sense that I mentioned just now, so my bad there. It is our top 2 teams that are still looking to play that game. They will finish first and second, but it does matter. Either you face third place or you face the Gauntlet winner. Gauntlet winners look scary because they just Ramboed their way through henchmen. But they were still lower ranked than rank 3, so you should want to be first place and you should want to fight for honor in that one-on-one.
It's like those old it's like those Tony Jaa movies where it's like all the henchmen's mob around him, but he just takes out each one by one, easy enough. So really exciting stuff for our standings, and actually I believe we can look forward to the matches tomorrow, as Grubby was already alluding to. It is going to be the big matchup of the weekend. I think we've all been looking forward to this 30K versus Simplicity. As Grubby said, things won't really move for 30K Simplicity, but it does affect a lot of other people. As Grubby was mentioning, what is it? Third place goes up against first place. So who will be in that first place? Will it be 30K? Will it be Simplicity? And then we will close out week 7, our group stage, with Diamond Hands versus Chili Mountain. And in the interview, this is what we were talking about. If Chili Mountain can take a singular map off of Diamond Hands that could shake up these standings completely, oh man, Justin, I am so excited for the matches tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. It's going to be really important. It's nice that our final game of regular games is going to be actually having an impact on the standings. That isn't always the case, depending on how things fall. So to be able to have the script perfectly play out, where we have the first place being determined between Simplicity and 30K tomorrow, as well as the third place being determined based on how the match goes in the second series there. It's going to be really exciting games tomorrow. Really important as well.
Definitely important games tomorrow, exciting stuff. And before we start to wrap up our stream here, I got to get both of your kind of closing thoughts for the day. And Grubby, is there any sort of takeaway, closing thought, anything you want to chat about here?
Yeah, it's pretty sick what Johanna damage is. I think we saw a few draws where she's ignored and many where she was rightfully picked and banned. That's something to keep in mind going into the final day tomorrow as well of our regular season. I also think that probably whatever Blizz devs, they were working on these patches. They're probably going to go on vacay. So even though CCL has a bit of a break too, I think we may not see another patch coming over. So whatever practice these teams are doing, and again, that's a guess, whatever practice these teams are doing has to keep in mind ban strategies. And you got to kind of think of how many OP heroes there are. And then if you want to be first pick, second pick, always really important. A lot of theory crafting. I think today showed a very strong WildHeart. They're now suddenly a top contender as well. They started strong, had a bit of a lull, and now they're looking mega strong again. Love to hear from Mason Blaze that they're saying not relying as much on Zergling, micromanaging everyone.
Yeah. It was actually a lot of really cool information that we got from that interview, and it's just seriously a great series from WildHeart. I'm still kind of reeling from how well they played. But Justin, any takeaways from the day for you?
Yeah, so the Storm versus Granite Gaming matchup was a bit closer than I expected, which bodes well for Granite Gaming. Maybe not quite so much for Storm. Storm Esports does have the wins against Simplicity and 30K, so they've beaten both of the teams that are contesting for first, which is good for them going into the end of the season, but struggling up against Granite, if nothing else, is a good thing for Granite. That means that they are scaling as the season progresses, because the gauntlet is really what it's going to all come down to for them with where they are in the standings. So being able to make that close series 2-3 against Storm, really important, and also WildHeart very much scaling as the season progresses, and Oxygen's going to have to make sure that they can kind of refocus on what got them to their 4-2 that they were at before today, so that they can be able to not fall off before the end of the season. You don't want to peak out too early. So maybe a bit of a wake-up call for Oxygen right now, and just cool to see Granite Gaming and WildHeart scaling up as the season progresses.
A lot of really good scaling, a lot of good play, and just a lot of great Heroes of the Storm action, as we have had so much fun today here on HeroesCCL. Unfortunately, it is going to be the end of our broadcast, but fortunately, there's another day of broadcast tomorrow, Sunday, December 19th at 11 a.m. PST, 2 o'clock EST, and 20 CET, our normal start time. Thank you all once again for watching HeroesCCL. We really appreciate everyone supporting the prize pool, and if you'd also like to get yourself some merch, you can use !merch in chat. But as I said, that does wrap up our day of play here on HeroesCCL. We'll see you all on Sunday. From Grubby, Justin, and I, it's been a blast to cast for you all. We'll see you for more games tomorrow. Until then, I've been Bahamut, joined by Grubby and Justin. It's HeroesCCL presented by Wisdom, and we'll see you on Sunday tomorrow.